Hello, welcome to my crib.
Pretty this
Flaminga Casita. So right now we are at my childhood home where I grew up. Not where I currently live, but where my parents still live here. So everything here, my dad's a horticulturist. He planted it or grew it from seed himself. So it's all designed by him. It's all maintained by him. That's where I get it, you know, the addiction.
I was gonna ask you how did you end up? Now I know.
Yeah. So my dad fully grew up in the industry. Well, he didn't grow up in the industry, but I grew up in the industry, and he's been a horticulturist for most of his life. And then I was always outdoors. My brother and I always run around the garden. If we went somewhere, we went to like a botanical garden. I just kind of grew up with it. It wasn't until college where I seriously started considering it like a career or something I could do more. Studied it, then got into growing my own plants, and I've just all the unique and odd tropical, subtropicals, all plants throughout the world. It's just something that I find so exciting and enriching, and I always want to learn more. I feel like I learn about a plant every single day, and that's just what keeps me going. So,
Does your brother do horticulture?
no, he could care less.
So you're the favorite.
No, it just wasn't his cup of tea. I can definitely talk to my dad more about some things. Yeah, it's so funny, but that's the thing is he doesn't care about plants at all. But because he grew up in this, he knows way more than the average person. Like I have many plant friends, who enjoy plants and stuff, but my brother would know more variety than they do just because of what's here in the yard. So
this is insane.
yeah, there's lots here. So this is also my section of the garden. This is where my greenhouse is, where I grow plants. It's where my personal collection is, and then also where I grow plants for sale. Name of my business, formerly Palmera Plants. I still keep the name up. Other Plants now. Other plants, and I just do that because I'm interested in growing plants that are more other, like different things. I find like when I go to a website for plant shopping, I'm always at the bottom clicking, other plants, miscellaneous plants, different things, and that's what really gets my interest. I always like seeing things that I haven't seen before, something different. I think that's one of the amazing things about this hobby. It doesn't matter how much you know about plants. You're always surprised, and you can always find something different. It's, maybe something's being discovered in nature for the first time, or something's new to science, a new species has come up, or someone made a new hybrid that's really unique, or maybe you just learned something you didn't even know existed before, but everyone else did, and you're like, whoa, what is that? So it's always that other that I'm really interested in. So that's why I try to focus on lots of different stuff. But if I were to say what group of plants do I primarily grow, it's a lot of like epiphytes and tropical succulents, which basically things that are built for South Florida that I can grow without too much trouble. But there's also some things that are a little special in here. Yeah, we can walk through and I'll show you some of other plants.
I'm like looking around and I see like 5 things that I might know.
Okay.
So there's...
Well, if you see anything that you're like, what is that? Just like point it out.
Everything. I want to know about everything.
Well, we'll start here. So this is my dad's section. I let him have a little bit of the greenhouse. We built this together, by the way, in like 2021, I think. But again, he's all into cacti. So we have lots of Astrophytum here. These all different species and hybrids. They're heavily hybridized to create really unique looking things. Like, wow. Check that out. This is Astrophytum myrtostigma fukuryu. Cool Japanese cultivar that's got these incredible ripples going down the middle. There's also like Asterius. These are star-shaped Astrophytum asterius.
Those are beautiful.
Astrophytum being stars, phytum being plants, so like star cactus, because it looks like the night sky,
Yeah.
He likes Ariocarpus too. Aerocarpus are these kind of like very triangular stem things from native Texas and Mexico. Succulent collectors or cacti collectors really love Aerocarpus, it seems. Also hybridized to create cool forms. It's probably the weirdest Astrophytum of them all. This is called Caput Medusae. Like, like snakes, like Medusa. And so imagine you have an Astrophytum here, right? This is, I guess, what happened with evolution. You have an Astrophytum like this, and then each spine there can make a tubercle, and then these just got elongated so much so that this is what happened in
That's
some
crazy.
weird freak accident of evolution. And this is where the flowers will come out, like on these tentacles.
Oh, you have
Yeah,
one
see?
right there.
Yeah, see a bud.
Wow.
So yeah, I believe he grew this one from seed. He grows most of these from seeds. And I was showing you the monkey tail cacti earlier. This is a mutant monkey tail cactus.
What the heck is that?
It is a crested inermis monkey tail cactus. Crested meaning the growth point is mutated, so it kind of makes these weird like fan shapes here. So instead of just one stem, it's like the growth point was split into many stems. Inermis meaning it doesn't have any hair, so it drops all of its spines. It tries to make some right here, you see, but those fall off later on, and you're just left with this freak of a plant.
That is so weird looking.
Right? As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I gotta get this for him. It's weird.
Are these the same thing?
Yes.
Like little babies of it?
Yeah, that's little propagated plants of it. But yeah, there's so many different ones. There's so much to see. Like the variation in them is really crazy too. Like let's see if I can here we go. So this is just one seed batch. This is all from one little fruit. And look how different they all are.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much variation in their genes that you can cross two of these plants together, sow the seeds, and then they all come up different.
That's insane.
So there's like endless possibilities. And there's still people breeding them and making new and interesting forms.
So many different
Yeah.
things to look at here. So your dad breeds them?
He's done a little breeding, not that much. I think these might have been from his own seed. The Caput Medusae. Probably some of these Asterias he grew or bred on his own, but not much else. He hasn't been collecting all this for that long, like maybe 5 years or so. It can take decades really to get like a unique plant from breeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That's a nice fern. Drainaria oidii. I stuck it in a coconut and then it grew through the coconut.
Oh, wow.
And these stay on all year round, but this is the new growth that's just popping out. And that's seasonal. It'll be frondless over the winter time, but come summertime, it kind of like shoots out like that.
It's so cool looking.
Yeah.
It looks like a piece of art.
Right? I was like, I gotta make more of these.
Yes,
so
you should.
I have a few others that are slowly growing right now. Back behind me, this is my personal collection. Lots of things. Right now it's a lot of tropical ferns, a lot of ant plants, a few aeroids. Like I think I have some anthuriums. Like that's just like an old magnificum hybrid I got from Ecuagenera a long time ago. This is a really lovely anthurium I like. That is
really cool.
Anthurium rosio nervium. It has like this interesting rosy midrib right here. But what I like about it is I like blue plants, they get that glaucous look, that wax. So this develops a natural wax on its leaves. And a friend of mine who saw this in Habitat was saying it's like a desert anthurium. Like
interesting.
Because the wax is to help protection from the sun and for perspiration purposes, so it doesn't perspire as much, so it can hold its water in. And then right next to it, this is Anthurium diabloense. I think people also call it Bariozappalens, but look at the lobes on that thing, right?
Yes.
Like these tall, mousy looking things.
That's so cool.
And again, it's got that cool glaucous color to it. Or not glaucous color, it's like a blue color.
So pretty.
Yeah, this is I don't have a lot of bromeliads. I have a few. I have like 3 right here, but this is one I come across recently, and I think it's just the prettiest thing because look at underneath here. I wish we had more sun because the light shines through the bottoms of the leaves. This is Picarnia Starry Night.
Wow.
And you can see it's got such color to it.
Yeah.
I just got done flowering, so I'll have to divide it pretty soon. You know, I was saying I was into ant plants, and essentially what ant plants are, there's a whole bunch of them, different genera. Essentially, it's just a plant that is adapted to house ants within the plant itself.
Okay.
And the idea is the plants provide the ants protection from predators, and that benefits the ant, and the plant gets a benefit out of it because the ants bring back like detritus and nutrients and things to their nest, and they'll actually feed the plant too in some cases. So it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship where they both benefit in their own presence. And also, if I'm like a predator and I'm like messing up the plant and all, then ants would rush out and protect the plant because it's like their home. You don't need ants to grow ant plants. Let me show you one, I guess, if I should stop talking about them.
Oh, that is big.
Oh, God. So, yeah, here you go. This is Hugo. Hugo the Hiddenophytum.
He's got little ants.
He's got a little,
him.
yeah, this one's got a little ant. They don't normally live inside of the plant. And they don't attract ants either. That's the number one question I get. I'm like, do these plants attract ants? They're ant plants. No, because they're from a part of the world that has completely different ants. They're from like Indonesia, Philippines, Southeast Asia. So our ants here don't know what it is. So they don't really like take over it as much. But yeah, I was talking about tropical succulents. This is what I would call a tropical succulent because it's from high rainfall areas. So it's fairly rot resistant, but it's a succulent because it's got this thick base where it stores a lot of water. And actually it grows on trees in its native habitat. So imagine this thing just like in a canopy of a tree.
That's crazy.
Freaking weird.
Yeah.
So just an odd group of plants that I really have fallen in love with. You can see the little orange berries.
Does each berry have like one seed or a bunch of seeds?
On this genus too. See right there. There's a seed. And you can just, I'll stick that in some sphagnum. That'll grow into a new plant. Very easy to produce from seed. And that's an ant plant. You see them around. I don't think they get enough love. There's a lot of variation in them too. A lot of different species. Like here's one. Sorry, I got irrigation rigged up on all of these. So much different growth, much taller, broader leaves. It looks almost like a mango seedling, which is pretty odd, but
that's so pretty.
Yeah, and I like them too because they make a natural bonsai. I didn't trim any of these. They just kind of get a thick base and kind of spindly stems. So
I like that.
Now there's ant plants that flower, and then there's ant ferns, and they do the same thing. They have hollow rhizomes, hollow stems, so ants can live inside of them if they want. Again, not here. They won't attract ants. But this is a really cool one. This is Lechinopteris luzonensis from Luzon in the Philippines. Look how odd that is. That's the stem.
It's like a bluish, purplish, greenish color.
Yeah.
Minty.
And it grows over itself. It just makes this huge, big clump. It'll probably, it's growing over the pot. It'll probably take over the pot.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's just.
And if you cut it open, it's got tunnels for the ants the same way.
Yeah, you know what? Since we're filming, we'll do a little educational example here. So if I were to cut open this ant plant, you can see all the holes and stuff. Those are the entrances for ants and their native habitat. So if I were to slice this in half, it would look like an ant farm, just all these natural tunnels running through it. And then if I were to come over here, and that's a good one, and I cut this off, look right there, hollow.
Wow.
So see right there, there'd be a little hollow spot. So Yeah, something like that.
That's so
So
cool.
you can imagine just like a network of these also grow up in trees. Again, like the epiphytes. I like epiphytes. So this would the plant just grows on itself and would create just like a huge network for ants to
That's crazy.
walk through. And yeah, Lechinopteris or Lechinopteris, however you want to pronounce it.
Is this also an ant plant?
No, that one's not. This is interesting succulent epiphyte from South Africa called tree jockey. It doesn't have any flowers right now, but it has these very interesting red flowers that kind of bend down and edible fruit too. I haven't had the fruit yet, but this is a cool ant fern. Isn't that weird?
What is it? The trichophobia or whatever?
Yeah.
Look away.
Look away.
That is...
Yeah, this is Lomarioides. Lechinopteris lomarioides. So I grew this in a tree fern pot. And it's just grown over the tree fern pot. And again, you can kind of see here, like if you were to cut this open, it's like fuzzy on the inside, but it's generally hollow.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so that's a crazy, crazy plant. So yeah, those are probably some of my faves. Other than that, I don't have a lot of Hoyas, but I like Hoya multiflora a lot. This is like a Hoya multiflora flower, the shooting stars.
They look like little dragon faces.
Right? Or like the night sky or something. I don't know. And generally they don't get too viney. You can see here, this is usually what happens with Hoyas,
Yeah.
They can just like to crawl all over the place, and that can be nice, but I only have so much space, so these tend to stay tighter. And this is another form of multiflora with long leaves.
Oh.
This is one called Wonderfill with silver leaves.
I did not know there were several.
There's
different
so many.
forms.
And this is my favorite one so far. This one's called mini white, multiflora mini white.
Wow.
Tiny speckled leaves. See, it doesn't get too misbehaved. It stays pretty close, but they're the flowers.
Wow.
And what's awesome about this form is the flowers are fragrant. On all the other clones, they don't make a smell. This one,
Okay, I have to smell it.
it's stronger at night, but it has like a faint jasmine smell. Maybe you can pick up something I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Very faint,
Hoya
but it can
multiflora.
smell it.
Yeah. And I was like, really? This one smells? Which is so strange that all the others don't. So, yeah. You see
To look at.
the crazy, monkey-tail cacti. Yeah, it's definitely organized chaos in here. This is kind of like the prop area, the mother plants.
Oh my
All
goodness, I
stacked.
love it. Oh, you've got more. I see the flowers up there.
Yeah, there you go. That's like more of the common clone right there. Oh, they're falling.
You're not supposed to touch up. I'm just kidding. What is this guy?
Yeah, that's Adenia venenata. I don't know the common name. It's like it's in the passion fruit family, believe it or not, but it's like a succulent version of it. These are cuttings I made. They're doing okay, but Adenia, it's probably the genus I have the most here. It's an odd group of succulent plants that for whatever reason I just love. I remember I got into them and I'm like, I have to have them all. And I probably have like a third of the genus, which is
Wow.
like, they have 100 species. So maybe a little bit more than that. I'll definitely show you some of them. They have some very pretty leaves.
That's an interesting looking leaf.
Yeah.
This one too.
Yeah, so there's the Adenia. That's Adenia right there creeping up over here. And it leads back to this stem,
Wow.
which is a very odd, warty looking thing. And this is a pretty young seedling, actually. The older plants are right here. And look at that Codex.
Wow.
So Codex is just a, basically the stem has been modified to store water and nutrients in times of drought or dormancy. And they call those codices or codices. And this one is probably the gnarliest of them all in my collection. There's so many different codex plants out there. Yeah, that one's Adenia stylosa. I grew these from seed, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The only way to get the good stuff is to grow it from seed, because it's hard to find decent-sized plants for a price I can afford.
I feel that.
Yeah, I gotta go on a budget. I have time on my hands. I don't have that much money. It all goes to plants.
Same.
Speaking of, here's some more ant plant seedlings. Some of them are, it's very just strange looking form, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can just live in a small pot like this for almost its whole life.
There's so many cool things.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's organized chaos.
This is like such a dark leaf.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't pick up as well on camera, but it's like a black color.
Yeah, with like little tiny red veins.
Mm-hmm.
The underside, if you get real close, like super reticulated.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, I have a bunch of others over there we'll take a look at. And these are actually native to Everglades. This is Campylonirum angustifolium, or the ribbon fern. Find these growing in big cypress in the Everglades on cypress trunks. And then this is a native orchid, also to the Everglades, called Epidendron nocturnum. Makes a beautiful white flower that blooms at night, very fragrant. I got this from Fairchild from their Million Orchid project.
Oh, wow.
So they're doing a lot of great stuff down there.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Yep, it's Parosia. Oh yeah, look at the leaves on that.
Yeah,
it's like wool. Parosia splendens.
I don't know if I could handle that. I would think that it had like spider mites or
Right?
dust or something.
Yeah, like something's wrong with it. It's kind of looking a little rough right now, but that's the newer leaf. More nice. And I like it because it's got these very nice coppery undersides.
Ooh, yes.
Like, maybe at eye level it's not that great, but if you're like underneath it, you know, you're like, ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, a lot of these are starts of different epiphytic cacti. Talking like Rhipsalis, some Christmas cacti, some Easter cacti, some things that people don't really even know what they are, that they should know what they are. And I barely know what they are. It's stuff that hasn't flowered for me yet, but I'm hoping it will. So, yeah, this is a great little genera of cacti, bulb plants called Griffinia. This is Griffinia aspiratensis. They're little bulbs native to Brazil. Some of them have interesting leaves. Like that one's got veins on it. I have one over there with speckles, but the beautiful little blue flowers I think are so nice. But I think they should be cultivated more, especially for indoor growth, because they will flower indoors for you. And there's not a lot of bulbs that make that amaryllis type flower that will bloom indoors. You know, they're from understory rainforest areas, so they're used to low light. But they're bulbs, so they're not too picky about water stuff. You know, they can rely off that bulb if they get too dry for energy, and they don't mind indoor humidity at all. They're very thick leaves, so yeah, that's just one species. But I have a few others that I'm growing out, and I sell those regularly. But when I tell people about them, they're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds awesome."
It does.
Usually get them. And you can put that in your windowsill and it'll bloom like that multiple times a year for you. So, yeah, Griffinia, they call them. This is HQ. This is where magic happens. Just the potting area. My pots. Media. It's kind of a mess, but like I said, organized chaos. Yeah, lots of different epiphytic cacti. Lots of species. I think... So if I could talk about them for a second, actually.
Let's do it.
A lot of the Rhipsalis. I think people like Rhipsalis. They're known as jungle cacti or mistletoe cacti. And very similar care to Hoya. And I think like Hoyas, like each one, they maybe kind of look different, but the blooms are different, all of them. They're highly collectible. There's so much variation just between them. And if you get like big plants, you can really see the texture and uniqueness of each one. And I think they would be much more popular than they are. The only unfortunate thing is almost like all of them I see online are mislabeled. They have the wrong species on there. And I think that's what happens is people don't get into them because maybe they get one and it's the wrong species or wasn't the species they were hoping for, like if they really get into them, and then they try to buy another one which they think is right, and that also ends up being wrong. So there's not a lot of care, I think, taken into properly IDing these plants. And I mean, a lot of them kind of do look superficially alike, but again, once you get them big and long and flowy and you see them flower, their unique traits come out. So I think they have a lot of opportunity. It's just making sure that sellers are labeling them correctly and that people get what they are looking for, and actually someone can communicate to them the differences and stuff like that. Over in the coop over there, I have a whole bunch of big mother plants I'll show you and talk about. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of potential there.
What is this?
Yeah, that's a really cool philodendron. I just got it recently. It's a callosum, philodendron callosum. Yeah, if you can feel it, it's got a very callous leaf. Very kind of cool, paddle shaped. And if we walk in the light, you can see the texture on them. Like wrinkles in the skin or something like that, or all these grooves.
It feels kind of like cardboard.
Yeah. Very yeah, see? Listen to that noise. Very thick. Yeah, philodendron callosum. It's a cool one.
I've never even heard of this. I like that.
Yeah, I got it from a friend who there's lots of different rare plants. That was a fun one.
Ooh.
Yeah, variegated maidenhair fern.
That is very cool looking.
Yeah, I murdered this thing down to the stump. There was no leaves. And I've killed so many maidenhairs before. But I really don't want to lose this one. So the trick, just keep it in water all the time. So it's never not dry. It's just sitting in water. Got a rocky mix in there, and it came right back. So hallelujah. Yeah. Yeah, and I love ferns too. I've gone into them lately. We had one over there, the dragon wing, but this is my personal dragon wing.
Wow.
Just so big and lush, right?
Yeah.
Like, how could you not like that? It's just, woo.
That is beautiful.
Like, it's only half full.
Curliness of it.
Right? Lettuce. All these lettuce. But it hangs in a basket. There's another interesting one called Mermaid's Tail. They call it that because the ends.
Oh, wow.
It's like a mermaid's tail there, and it's like the fins. Pom-poms.
Got a lot of little curly ones.
This is a cool one, too. This is Microsorum whiteheadii, discovered by Reggie Whitehead, who was, I believe, a founding member of the Tropical Fern and Exotic Plant Society in Miami. But he found this somewhere in Southeast Asia, I forget, growing on a rock wall. But if you feel the leaves, they're super thick.
Yeah.
But it's like a really cool, interesting dark leaf. Very wide. It's got these interesting green veins going through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, see, it's just covered in spores on the back. So when you touch it, it'll just follow you on your finger. But yeah, he's still around. He lives in Miami. But a little bit of fern history right there. Tropical fern history.
Where did he find it?
Oh gosh, I don't remember the country. I want to say like Laos or Vietnam or Thailand.
Somewhere
in there. I can only get the names in my head. So this is interesting. This dragon whiskers crested, Microsorum dragon whiskers crested. I guess he's really cool frilly growth. I can't talk right now for some reason.
I get like that sometimes.
Yeah, right. You talk about plants for so long, you're like, ugh. Yeah.
That's so cool. It like lightens and darkens.
You know, the new growth. And then this one right here is the regular dragon whiskers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, see all these vines growing in. So also really nice and frilly and pretty. Kind of like dragon wing. I said that one was dragon wing, right? Yeah. That one's dragon wing. This one's dragon whiskers. The only difference is the filaments are a lot thinner.
Yeah, I like the way this one feels.
Yeah.
It's like a fleshy feeling, a rubbery almost.
Right? So apparently this one crested, it mutated, and you got that.
Interesting.
That's the story. Who's to say where a lot of these came from?
Yeah.
These are all man-made cultivars or hybrids, and ferns are different. Like, technically there is a male and a female plant. You put them together and you make an offspring, but just the way their biology works, their reproductive system, it's like never truly know which one was the male, which one was the female, or if maybe a rogue spore got in and combined with another spore, because there's no seeds in them. It's like a single cell spore.
Yeah.
Will turn into a full plant. So
interesting.
yeah.
I have a variegated one of these little things.
Oh, you do? Oh, sick.
I've been trying to get it to seed, but it hasn't yet.
Oh, just wait. They'll do it on their own. They like spreading their seed for sure. Yeah, I love Derstenia. They're another one of my favorite genus of plants. I mean,
ever I get a little variegated one, I'll bring you one.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, if you have, they like popping up too, so I'm sure you'll get one soon. Yeah, they're in the ficus family, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, they're in the ficus family. These odd flowers. So imagine like a fig fruit, right? Imagine if you were to take a fig and you were to flip it inside out. That's what this flower would be.
Yeah.
And when they're pollinated, they produce seeds, and the seeds just, when they're ripe, they just explode out of the flower, and they'll pop up all over the place. So honestly, at a lot of these plant shows I go to, and I bring other plants, they'll have these seedlings in them, and I give them to people as like bonuses.
I've seen, yeah. View. This is cool.
So yeah, back to Adenia, my favorite genus of plants, which I try to collect a lot of. This is these are all of them right here. These are all seedlings that have woken up and now they're taking over this side of the greenhouse. I got to do something with them, but this one is shoot, why am I blank on the name? Perrieri, yeah, Adenia perrieri, and like these beautiful snowflake looking leaves. Here's a unique one. Also, you don't see around too much, Metamorpha.
Wow.
I love the color on that one.
Yeah.
And then this is an unidentified species. I imported these from France. I think the guy got them from Madagascar. Could be Perrieri. Very similar leaves to this right here, but maybe a different form of it. That's not as thin, but really unique. And then here's another one with these dark purple leaves, almost black. Nice back sides. Yeah. This one's which one's this? Lanceolata.
I can see why you like these.
Yeah. They grow with no trouble here. A lot of succulents. I have to be careful growing here. I can't give them too much water because it's too humid. These love the humidity. This one's Gotesii, and this thick caudic stem is all underneath here. Like if I were to take all the soil, it'd be like that thick around all underneath here.
Wow.
But it grows faster if I keep it buried, so I keep it buried. But I could expose it one day and. But yes, these things. No.
So cool.
Little caterpillars get in here.
Oh no.
I don't deal with too many pests here, even though all my plants are super crowded and together. I mean, caterpillars and worms are kind of like the worst thing, which is strange.
Really?
Yeah, but I think it's because I'm outdoors. I don't use a lot of chemicals in here, and everything's, open walled, so all the beneficial insects come in here too, and everything's just kind of like you know, the beneficials are helping out with the pests. And if I
Yeah.
see a pest, you know, I'll squash them real quickly. I'm here almost every day, you know, so I can keep on top of stuff before anything gets infested. But it's, yeah, everything grows pretty okay. Yeah, so these are the other Griffinia. This is Leboniana. See with these nice speckled leaves.
Mm-hmm.
But see, just little bulb plants, and they make these little flowers multiple times a year. They multiply too, so I can plant one bulb. A few months I'll have 2. A few months after that I'll have like 5.
Wow.
So they just keep multiplying. Yeah, this whole area, this is my sale section. So these are plants that are just about ready to go. It's a miniature costus. Costus are known as like the spiral ginger.
Gotcha.
Usually they get pretty big. This one is one that stays like this. I think it's Monocostus uniflorus. And you can kind of see in one stem the spiral pattern, almost like a little staircase.
Mm-hmm.
It goes around like that.
That's so cute.
See another one like this.
Yeah.
And they make little yellow flowers in the summertime. Also something that I think if you're an indoor grower or you have a small patio, like this would be perfect for you. And different too. That, you know, a lot of people don't know about. So
Got all kinds of cool stuff everywhere.
there's so much, yeah.
You need to come to Atlanta. I think you would like Atlanta Botanical Gardens.
I know I would. I've seen videos. I saw when you went there too. Walked around a little bit.
You and your dad would like the desert house a lot. Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, this is a bromeliad. It's a pine cone bromeliad. Pine cone bromeliad, and they call it that because it makes these little flowers that kind of look like pine cones.
Wow.
And they have little yellow flowers at the end of, I mean, that is the inflorescence. They have little yellow flowers. I like things kind of like this plant right here. This is Pyrosia longifolia. Just plants that make these long strapping leaves. Mm-hmm. They seem to go against gravity. They hang down. You get that nice lush look over time. And, you know, I'm confined here to my 18 by 18 greenhouse. So I can keep these in hanging baskets up here if I wanted, and just let them grow long, and they won't touch the floor. And
is that variegated?
Yeah, it's the variegated oak leaf fern, Trinaria.
So pretty.
Is that nice? I like the stems too. They're like super fuzzy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that chicken fern or whatever.
Yeah,
is that what that is?
I know what you mean. Yeah, the chicken fern that's around. It's like the Hawaiian tree fern.
Yeah, everybody cuts all the leaves off. Why?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a cool euphorbia, Bungalovensis. See, okay, I think this is a caterpillar, because what they like to do, is they like to get in there and they roll the leaves up.
Interesting.
If I went in here, oh no, that's just scale. See, I still got pests. It's okay. It's a natural thing of growing plants.
It is.
I will promise if you buy from me, it will be clean. So
I believe that. I've got stuff from you before.
Okay. Yeah, lots of, and then these are all the random succulents and stuff. I mean, more Dorstenia.
That's a weird
Is that a cool
one?
one? This is Lancifolia. Nice thin leaves, white veins. There's a cute little one called Super Clone. Just stay squat like that. Again, the flowers.
Oh, wow.
And I like the weirdos. So this is a crested one.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah.
It just went nuts.
That's so weird.
And then, so if you look around, you'll see them. See, like, growing in little pots. I didn't plant that. I didn't plant that. I didn't plant that. All these weren't planted. They just pop up. And they even got into here. I didn't put them in here, but all these Dorsinia popped up, and they're crowning out my Welwitschia. So
I was wondering if that's what that was.
That's what this is. This is what that single leaf is. This is a plant. This is like one of my forever plants. I plan to have this until I die. But Welwitschia mirabilis, there's the growing point.
Wow.
It's happy because it's got the new green growth down there.
Yeah.
But these are the long leaves.
Do you keep it in water?
Yeah, so they're
Interesting.
from the deserts of Namibia in a place that doesn't rain. They only get fog. So extreme desert, but they love wet conditions. I shouldn't say wet. They like moist conditions.
Okay.
But the thing is this pot is terracotta. It's very easily draining. So to keep it from drying out, because they don't like drying out in cultivation, which is totally backwards, but they don't like drying out in cultivation. So what I do is I keep a dish of water in the bottom, and it just kind of like feeds off of that without the worry of rot.
Yeah.
But I water this plant more than like some of my philodendrons.
Wow.
Which is like totally backwards because everyone thinks, oh, it's a succulent plant, but not the case with Welwitschia.
I killed my first one because I wasn't ever watering it. I have a second one now.
Nice.
I am not keeping it in water, but maybe I should be.
I think if you're growing it outside in the heat and stuff, then yeah, I would maybe give it a little dish on the bottom.
What is this thing?
That's an Adenia fruit, actually.
Interesting.
So it's like a little mini passion fruit, but probably toxic because a lot of them are toxic.
I've heard that. Oh.
That was, I think I lost one right there.
I just saw a lizard jump on the screen, but I don't see it in person.
Oh, gosh. Yeah,
I love
the freaking curly tails, they get in here and they lay eggs in some of my pots.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and but they'll dig up the soil and they'll lay eggs, and it's kind of annoying. But
Palmer needs to take a break to do some plant chores. While we wait to see the other greenhouse, let's hop over to the interview.
I feel like we're in a studio right now, like a formal chair in the backdrop. Yeah.
It's going to be very nice. So you told me a little bit about your family, your dad being a horticulture, and now you. But so your dad inspired you?
Yeah, for sure. And it might have something to do with genetics too, you know? I remember I was going to college, and, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I didn't really have an idea. I just knew I wanted to work outside. That's it. I just knew I wasn't the type of person to sit behind a desk all day. I just wanted to be outside. And I just kept following that feeling, and eventually, made sense. It was something that worked with plants. So,
what school did you go to?
I went to the University of Florida. Yeah, so I got a degree in plant science there, but also got a degree in visual art studies. In high school and middle school too, I did visual art, drawing, painting, and stuff like that. And I wanted to continue in college, not with the idea that I would use it in a career. I think it does come in handy, especially working at a botanical garden. But I wanted the plant science degree as well. Yeah.
How long have you been working at Mounts?
I've been there. It's gonna be 3 years in September, actually. So.
And it's not far from here.
No, not far from here. Well, my dad actually used to work there. He worked there for 11 years. So I kind of grew up going to the garden. So it's kind of cool going there as my job now. I already knew it so well, so now I know it even more.
What plant would you gift to a coworker you hate?
Oh, to a coworker I hate. I really didn't like it. They wanted a plant. If you really didn't like them, you'd have to be a little sneaky with it, right?
For you, yes.
Well, I wouldn't give them anything like was super spiny because they're like, oh, I won't want this. I don't know. Maybe give them something like maybe like an alocasia. Maybe because I have the worst luck with alocasias, and I know if I own one, it's just gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I have one I don't want anymore, and I'm like, here you go. And if it lives for them, actually, all the better. Congrats to them. Hats off to them. But chances are.
Yeah.
At least my personal experience.
Or it'll get spider mites.
Or it gets spider mites. Let's give them a spider mite plant. That might be the move.
Yes. What plant is your arch nemesis?
Oh, man. I could never grow the money plant. the Pilea peperoioides, with just the circular leaves.
Mm-hmm.
It was really popular like 2022. I could never grow that for whatever reason.
I couldn't either.
It's like everyone could,
Not me.
but I couldn't. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Mine was
Appreciate
like this tall.
You're making me feel better.
And it kept pupping out, but then it would all just die off. I don't know what was wrong with it.
I could never get past like a 3-inch like plant that I have. For whatever reason, it would just run off. It's like, okay, not meant for me.
Clearly, we're doing something wrong.
Someone tell me.
Yeah. Most underrated plant. You have a lot.
Oh, I could go on and on. I think if we're talking about ease of culture, like there's a lot of plants that I think are underrated, but maybe because they're a little difficult to care for and they have that reputation, and that's for sure. But plants that I think that are underrated for a reason I won't understand is Rhipsalis, first of all. I think a lot of people are into them, but I think there's so many out there that don't get. I think they could be as popular as Hoyas. And also that plant we were talking about earlier, the Griffinia, the little bulb plant with the little blue flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So underrated. Like, you just want a cute little flowering plant in a pot you can put on your windowsill. Check so many boxes, and that's the plant. So
I like that one.
yeah, I think that's great.
Finish this sentence. Dear plant collectors, please.
Oh, that's a good question. Please. I'd say, dear plant collectors, please collect more variety. I don't know. That's what I would say.
I like that.
Yeah. I think I really respect people who really get into one type of plant, and maybe they want to collect the whole genus and like make a really robust, full collection, really representative collection. But there's just so much more out there that maybe you don't know about, or maybe you won't let yourself know about. And maybe it's just because, a lot plants can be a lot too, but maybe just try something that's similar to what you have or different. And maybe that'll spark something else. And I hope we kind of move past like hype plants eventually. I think there are a lot of plants that people buy because it's it comes with maybe like a status, or it's you see it posted everywhere, like, oh, I gotta have it too. I think that'll always be around, but I hope plant collectors can move past it a little bit. Yeah,
I think so. I think I would like that too.
Yeah,
I feel like we would get so much more variety if everybody wasn't chasing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the market would be so much more interesting and different and exciting. I think you get so many more people involved too. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Dear plant collectors, it's okay to
kill plants. It's okay to kill plants. You have to kill plants to grow plants. It's just what it is. The amount I've murdered still to this day, it's just gonna happen. And the sooner you get over that fact, also the less anxiety you will feel, I think, too.
I have to agree. You can only take 3 gardening tools with you. What are they?
Clippers. I'd say a shovel. You just need that for sure. And I have this thing called it's a Japanese gardening tool called a hori, which I love. I have one at work. It's a little trowel, but the trowel on one side has a knife blade and the other side has a saw blade. And
is that the thing you pulled out earlier?
Yeah, probably. I probably had it on me. Oh yeah, to cut the fruit. Exactly. That was the hori.
Oh.
And it even has measurements on the trowel itself. So
wow.
I can take like inch depth, and so I can dig with it, I can cut with it, I can saw with it. Fits in my side pocket. It does everything. Yeah. Hori.
I might have to get one of those.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I feel like you can't really answer this question because your dad was a horticulturist.
Okay.
But what was your first plant?
Oh, shoot. First plant. Yeah. I mean, I remember buying like a little Venus flytrap from Home Depot, the plastic. That was awesome. I think first plant that I consciously grew and try to raise. I think I probably like a syngonium or something, because I was up at school in Gainesville and they were all over the place, and that's just when I started getting into growing plants. So they're invasive and they're
Yeah.
up there, they're all over the place. So I think I just went out back and just cut some up and then potted them and grew them. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay, what was the first plant you spent over $100 on?
Ooh, first plant I spent over $100 on. Gosh, they go back in my mind. It might have been that Cactus that we're looking at
Really?
earlier.
Yeah.
Witty. It might have been. And it was like a cutting too. Like it wasn't much of a plant, and it was $100. I was like, I need to get this.
They are way more expensive than that now.
Yeah,
so you
this
know.
was a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's been your greatest achievement as a collector?
Oh man. Probably. Well, my pride and joy is the Welwitschia. Welwitschia mirabilis. Because I knew when I learned about that plant, I'm like, I need to grow this. This is the coolest plant in the world.
Yours is probably the nicest one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've seen not a ton of them, but probably like 30 or 40, and yours is the nicest, most
That's a good
taken care
amount.
of one that I've seen.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I was like, I have to grow this. If I grow anything, I have to grow this.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my baby right there. Yeah.
I'm going to be taking some tips from you. What has been your biggest challenge in the plant world?
Ooh. In the plant world. Maybe just not trying to feel overwhelmed sometimes. Trying to find a happy median. I still struggle with that, just wanting to get everything right then and right now. Maybe not caring what I have. But it's almost better, I feel like, to try to grow what you have really well. And if you want to use it, especially now, I'm kind of thinking about breeding more, trying to get plants that I have to make their own seeds and I can grow those seeds. So really trying to focus on that, what I have, and grow it best as possible, instead of just trying to get something new, brand new, and grow it. I'm still doing it. I still buy something every other week, I feel like, but yeah, that's always and then I you get more and more stuff, and then you're like even more and more overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then just trying to find that happy medium of like pulling back. The balance is tough. Yeah.
What is your current favorite fertilizer?
Oh, okay. Use Osmocote pretty much on everything. Just a slow release granular fertilizer. Just put it on all the pots. Very simple, very easy. I only have to do it twice a year. That's my favorite. I'm trying to find more foliar fertilizer, especially for all the mounted stuff. There's a MSU fertilizer, seems to be the favorite amongst a lot of like epiphyte growers. It's like developed by Michigan State.
I've heard of that.
And I've used it a few times. Seems to be working pretty well, and specifically for epiphytes too. So I that came highly recommended.
Do you use for the Osmocote, the water soluble or the heat one?
I guess water soluble. Like every time I water, just a little bit releases into the soil, and it lasts like 6 months. Yeah.
I didn't know there was a difference until pretty recently. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I haven't heard the heat one. That's interesting.
Yeah, apparently you can put it out in the wintertime, and then when it gets spring, it'll pop up. I guess is what I was told.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What plant is currently on the top of your wish list?
Oh man. Right now, probably I have here, let me look at my list. Hold on.
A few minutes later.
Oh yeah. So I like ant plants. I like Dischidia too. And there's like an ant plant Dischidia that makes these hollow pockets. Like they have normal leaves that look like every other leaves, and then there's a few actually species that do this, but there's one that makes like a tuber almost, and ants can and then from the near habitat crawl inside of it. It's such a weird looking thing. There's one pectinoides, Dischidia pectinoides, but there's a variegated version called Pillow Talk. I've only
They just came out.
But it's called Pillow Talk, and I've seen it like a few places, but only photos. I've never seen it in person, so I'm looking for that one.
Dischidia Pillow Talk is what it's called?
Yeah, Dischidia Pillow Talk. It's like a variegated one. Yeah.
I'm going to look that up. Okay, so how long have you been in business?
Yeah, since 2020, I've been in business.
What were the first plants you started selling?
Oh, first plants I think it was like philodendrons and I think just a lot of philodendrons and stuff. And honestly, whatever I could find in this yard, because there's a lot here.
Yeah.
I could take cuttings. And it didn't really start on purpose either. It was COVID. I was in school. They told everyone in my senior year to go home. The university didn't want anybody on campus. So I came back home. I hadn't really learned to grow plants in college, which is kind of crazy because I was in a plant science major. But a lot of it was kind of like the workings of plants, the morphology, the physiology, the science part, which was very helpful later and still is very helpful. But I didn't actually physically grow a plant.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's odd.
Not in class anyways. I had some extracurricular stuff where I was doing that, like clubs. And so I came back home and I did have a propagation class, but it was all online because it was COVID. And I'm like, propagation online? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? So I just started propagating everything I could just to learn and grow because I just knew I want to grow plants. And so I just, philodendrons and Hoyas and Dischidia and whatever else was growing around here, some ferns and snake plants and things. And then I had so much of it. I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then the plant market started blowing up. And I was working at a nursery at the time too. So I saw everyone getting excited about that. So I was like, I'll just sell these online. And then I started doing plant sales in person. And yeah, it's really just kind of taken off life of its own.
If you could go back, what would you change about collecting in your business to 2020, knowing what you know now?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't change much. I don't think. I think because I've seen it like happen. The kind of aroid market and the Hoya market really get the bubble, and then I don't think it's fully burst yet. I think, but it's definitely not what it used to be. So I saw that whole cycle going on, and that taught me a lot about try to stand out in a crowded market. Granted, I'm not a very big seller at all. This is not my full-time job in any sense. There's a lot more people who are dedicating their whole lives to this and do an amazing job at growing plants and are very experienced at growing plants, and they know what the market wants. I'm not any of that, I would say. But but now I understand that, and I can try to find maybe a path going forward where I could stand out a little more.
That makes sense. So how do you think the market is going to change? Like, what do you think it's going to change next?
Oh, man. I've been trying to look at that, predict that a lot. I don't know. I don't see anthuriums going away anytime soon. That seems to be the only aroid to me that seems to hold its value still, is these velvet leaf anthuriums. But there's still so much focus on it, so much saturation. It's like almost making its own little bubble. So either people will get tired of growing anthuriums,
I think so,
or there'll be a new type of breeding of anthurium. So maybe the focus won't be so much dark leaves, thin veins, and stuff like that. Maybe it'll go towards somewhere else. Where, I don't know. Maybe it's about more veins, or it's about in the leaves, or different leaf shapes. Because anthuriums have so many different leaf shapes.
They really do.
Yeah, that you don't see a lot. So maybe that'll go there. But I think aroids and Hoya are always gonna stay top. I had hoped for a while that something else would come in. I see staghorns getting here a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't
Not
think
like
it'll.
Asia.
No. I think it's because most of the United States is like a northern climate, so it's gonna be what's gonna work indoors. Mounting something on a board and stuff it's kind of harder to do when you're just only growing indoors. So, and also people travel a lot too. They can't take care of everything. I've seen a lot more succulents, especially on Palm Street, like more than I expected to.
Really?
Yeah, I see a lot of cacti and succulent sellers on there. So maybe a lot of Haworthia. I see a lot of Haworthia around, getting more popular. Some conophytums. Maybe that's one way to go. Astrophytum. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that answer.
Yeah, I that's just something I'm observing. Whether it stays or not is
So,
we'll see. Yeah.
who has the coolest private garden and why, in your opinion, that you know?
Shoot. Out of the ones I've been to, that's a great question. There's still so many I need to go to, visit.
I'm just glad I don't have to answer this question.
Yeah. Yeah, forever's watching. I don't know. I really like a friend of mine and friend to a lot of people down here in South Florida, Mike Harris. He's in the Lauderdale area.
Okay.
He's a big time palm collector and crone collector and all plant collector, and he's got a big beautiful yard with a lake and also lots of grass to just walk around and stuff in. But he has some insanely large specimens that like I've never seen before, and he likes staghorns too and odd things. Yeah, that's probably one of the largest and prettiest private yards I've seen for sure.
What about the coolest nursery? Who do you think has the coolest nursery?
Oh
and why?
man. Oh, out of the ones I've been to, because there's still a lot I need to visit. I think Jesse Durko. That's one of the coolest nurseries, and he's been around a long time, and he's truly growing unique plants still. Because he gets tissue culture stuff in, but not a lot of it, and just all the interesting flowering plants and stuff and tropicals and butterfly plants. Like, he doesn't discriminate between anything. You can find every sort of thing there.
Is that who Rory has his stuff?
Yeah, so that's where. Yeah, so and then you have Rory's stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
To do that. So yeah, whenever I go over there, I always see something new.
I have not been over there yet.
You gotta
I'll
go.
have to go
You gotta go. Yeah,
Sunday,
you can.
maybe.
Yeah, find a way to get over there and meet them, and they'll show you around. And yeah, it's wicked. Yeah.
Okay.
I also want to shout out Gardino Nursery up here in Loxahatchee. They sell at mounts all the time. They've been doing it for a while, but they grow lots of Hoyas, but they have so many other things too. So many other things that every time I go there, I'm like, I always find something new.
Who should we interview or tour with?
Who
do you think?
Well,
YouTube needs to see.
Who does YouTube need to see? Dale Holton would be a great one. So he's one of the founders of the Palm Beach Palm and Cycad Society. Okay. And he's traveled the world collecting cycads. Ooh. He's elderly now. He hasn't retired yet, which is awesome, but he's got some amazing plants, and he's probably full of more stories than anyone I would know. Okay. And I haven't spent enough time just talking to him, but when we've toured his house and stuff, he has a story about every plant. He's great. Chip Jones at Jones Landscaping. He's also a cycad specialist, but he's just a lover of tropical plants. Okay. And he has an amazing nursery. It's out in the middle of nowhere underneath Lake Okeechobee. So if you can get to it, it's always a treat. Yeah, I always try to get out there a couple times a year.
And where can people buy your stuff and find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at Other Plants, formerly Palmera plants, but now other plants on Instagram. I'll be doing Palm Street for the first time this spring, so
No.
I'll start selling on there pretty soon. And then I've had an Etsy shop for a long time, Palmera plants, but that'll probably be other plants as well. So otherplants.com, I'll start doing that too.
Perfect.
So that's where I'll
to
have
find
lots of
him.
my other plants on there. Yeah,
Exciting.
cool.
Well, thank you so much.
No, thank you. I'm so happy you got to come here and tour, and I got to show you around. It's always a
Yeah.
pleasure talking to fellow plant people and seeing the excitement.
For sure. You have an amazing collection.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Where do you think you're going? We're not done yet. Let's get back to the tour.
So over here, they call this the Coop because it used to be a chicken coop. We had chickens and collected eggs, but I wanted more growing space, so I took it over.
Killed all the
And-
chicken off.
Now they're somewhere living happily in some
In someone's
and
belly.
some fried rice. Yeah. Okay, and you can come over here if you like.
Ooh. What do you got growing in here?
That's a Sansevieria,
It's so
right? It's dark,
Dark.
and I don't know what variety it is. I was always interested in it too,
that's very
but
interesting.
it just lives in that pot now. Watch your head.
Okay.
So this is where I keep some of my sensitive things that need moisture all the time. I have a misting system that goes off occasionally. And then also this is where I keep all my Rhipsalis mother plants.
Oh,
But
wow.
again, just talking about the character of them and uniqueness and stuff, like you'll have one that has a different growth pattern like that. They'll get
Yeah.
tall and almost coral-like. Very easy care. Again, as easy as a Hoya. Then you'll get ones that like to hang down and get real thick and again lush. I love that lush look.
Yes. I have
Or-
one that's like really skinny. Like skinnier than this.
Yeah, like needly, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
there's this one's not too good. I won't show that one. But and there's some like this that get,
that looks
like-
like a succulent.
right? Just totally different from all the others, but a lot of them just grow on trees in rainforests. So they can take dryness, they can take a good amount of water. This one gets watered 5 times a day,
Wow.
but still holds up very well. Look, it's got even moss growing on there.
I see that.
Meanwhile, this one, it's pretty dry here. I don't water it that much, and it's still nice and happy and full. So they can take a lot of care conditions. They're very tough. They're all unique in their own way. I think that's just what's missing, and the interest is the right identification for them. Because you want to, if you were collecting something, you want to know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to buy something and find out you have it already. So yeah, that's them. Everything's probably too crowded in here to show, but I know you were into this orchid, so I thought I'd show it to you.
Yes.
So this is awesome. This is Purpurorhacus, bulbophyllum Purpurorhacus. It's orchid native to West Africa, like the rainforest, lowland rainforest. So where it's hot and humid all the time, much like Florida, but it likes a lot more moisture than we can get here. So I keep it in this mist house. But this is the inflorescence, which looks like a crazy DNA strand. And all the flowers used to be on here, and they were like little nodding flowers. And somehow I got a little seed pod. So something must have pollinated it, because a little seed pod has formed on the thing.
That's so exciting.
Which, right? I'm like, that's sick. I don't know how I'm going to grow that, because orchids are notoriously difficult from seed. But
So my friend
yeah.
up in Atlanta, he does the orchid tissue culture stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, so if you need me to, I can ask him to do it.
Maybe I'll send this up to you, because
Yeah,
I don't know what I would do with it otherwise. That'd be sick. Okay.
I'll ask him.
There you
I
go.
don't think he'll care.
Okay.
I think he'll be excited.
Well, heck yeah. Okay, then. Yeah, there you go. Bulbophyllum. Purpurorhacus. And other than that, I have a lot of like tassel ferns and other things in here.
What is this guy right here? Is this the Cactus Whittii?
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna ask you if you. Oh, haha!
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you if you had one.
Oh yeah, I love this thing. I remember. Hold on, it's attached to something. I remember I saw one at Fairchild growing on like a plaque, and I'm like, that's amazing. I need one right now. And we're talking about epiphytic cacti, right? This is probably one of the coolest ones around.
I have to agree.
Right? Just the way it grows, like suction cup to the stem.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, fun fact, we were talking about ant plants earlier. This is an ant plant, actually. Yeah.
Is it?
And and it grows like this. Or there's probably many reasons it grows like this, but it's hollow underneath the stem here. So if like an ant is at the bottom of a tree, it's trying to go to the top, it uses these as like a highway. So it'll just underneath here, just climb up to the canopy like that. So apparently an ant plant, Cactus or Solenocerius, depends what you like. Whittii. Yeah, I have some props going. Here's how they're usually grown, you know.
I have mine on like a tree fern.
Perfect. Yeah. I love that. Oh, that's awesome. You have one. Yeah, I think super sick. I have also Hoya imbricata. Suction cup leaves. Again, just an odd little thing.
Yeah.
And this right here, this is fun. These are air plant seedlings. These are seeds from a rare air plant that I got, and I love the species. It's Tillandsia.
Okay, so tell me about the setup.
I'm blanking on the name. It looks like an urchin. I guess it's not important. It's oh wait, I have a tag. Andriana. There you go. Tillandsia andriana. So yeah, this is the setup. So I was trying to research how the heck do you grow air plants, because you know they just grow on tree bark and stuff, and like how do I keep them moist enough, you know? And I guess you know it happens naturally here because we have air plants on the trees, but I wanted a high success rate. So I learned that people just do it on window screening. So this is just simple window screening, and I put the seeds once the seed pod open. I collected them and I put them on the window screening. And again, this gets missed 5 times a day, so it keeps them moist, fairly moist. They dry out in between waterings, not a lot of substrate there. But you can see all those little green things. Those are just little baby air plants.
Wow.
Isn't that hilarious? So they'll live on this little screen for a while. And then
How old are they now?
Let's see. When did I sow them? I sowed them in March.
Wow. That's so cool. I've never seen anybody grow them like that.
Right? All you need is some window screening. Everyone's got that. And
True.
then some mist. Or I think you can grow them in kind of like a container like this. But the chances for rot are much higher because you don't got that good airflow.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, how do you keep something moist but also good airflow? That's the trick of it all. So yeah, that's that. I don't know, nothing else too crazy interesting in here.
Everything is crazy interesting. Like,
Nothing I could figure out about maybe.
what weird question. Do you grow the ferns from Spores? Now I can't talk.
Yeah.
I got your
It's been a couple hours now.
Hi.
This is Coco.
Hi, Coco.
Coco's a sweetheart.
What are you doing? Hi, puppies. I smell like butt spray.
She has 2 different colored eyes.
Look
Right
at you,
there.
pretty. Yeah, so pretty. Do you grow ferns from spores? That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, I've grown ant ferns from spores, and I'm growing some staghorn ferns from spores. Actually, I went to Japan early last year, and I went to like this staghorn gallery. It's amazing. They treat staghorns over there like fine pieces of art. You
Mhm.
walk into a store and they're hung up like a wall with a spotlight on them, like you're looking at like a sculpture or a painting. And I went to one of those in Japan. It was awesome, so cool. And I walk out and they had a one of those machines, where you put in a quarter and you turn the thing and you get like a capsule. It's a capsule machine. They had one, but the capsules were filled with spores from rare staghorns.
Wow.
And I was like, this is the coolest thing in the world. So I put some money in there. I got one, and then I brought them back here to the States, and now I have them growing. Actually, I have the spores over here. If you want to check them out.
Yes.
Yeah, we can talk about that. So just see in a little to-go container, nothing fancy, but there you go. Those are thousands and thousands of baby ferns.
That's insane.
Which is all crazy. So with ferns, it's like, you have the spores, and there's just however many thousands of these little single-celled things. And you put them in a substrate that's nice. In this case, very moist peat, and then they germinate and they make their first stage of life, which is called a gametophyte. And the gametophytes, they're not the fern yet. It's like a different life stage. It's very it's weird with them, but essentially the gametophytes both have a male and a female, and if you have them all tightly clumped like this, two gametophytes, which is like two separate plants, will pollinate each other in a way. The sperm will go to the eggs, and the eggs will go to sperm. It's different terms because they're plants, but that's what happens. And then when it's pollinated, then the sporophyte comes. That's the second life stage, and that's the fern we know and see, the big one. That's the sporophyte. So that'll grow big, and then the first life stage will die. And that's what this is all here, this carpet that looks like moss.
Wow.
So, yeah. And it's a very cool way of growing plants. It's also why I feel like ferns, especially tropical ferns, are not as popular they used to be, or not as popular as many other plants, because you're growing unique ones from spore. They're much harder to grow than anything from seed, I feel like. And it takes a lot longer, too. It takes so much longer than growing a plant from seed. Because you have a life stage to get over, and then you get the plant.
Yeah.
So, when did I sow these? I sowed these July 10th of last year. I don't even have a full plant yet. I mean, maybe these little ones with the green fronds, those might be hitchhikers, or that could be a beginning of a staghorn fern. It takes a long time, but you're always going to get something unique, something interesting. I think everyone should try to grow their own plants and make their own varieties, add to the culture and add to the hobby. Everyone has plants. Why not try to do something with them and create something new and exciting?
I've heard that slime mold is common to get with those.
Yeah, slime mold.
How do you get rid of it?
Fungus.
What are your suggestions?
Sterilize the soil is the number one thing.
How do you do that?
So you can either put it in the microwave, or you can pasteurize it. That's what I do. I just pour boiling water over the soil and I let it sit for a day. And then I lay the spore down after that. And then make sure the area you're growing them in, the spores, has good airflow. It'll be in a closed container, but occasionally you'll want to open it up to check on things. You shouldn't, but I do anyways. And I find if I grow them in a place with at least good airflow, I won't, algae or slime mold spores won't get in there just as much. If that does happen, then I just have to, if I get infested with slime molds and stuff, I'll just, with a sterilized spoon, just scoop out the spores and then put them in another container, and hopefully that's clean. And algae's actually the biggest problem with me. Is the algae will just start carpeting stuff, and the spores won't be able to grow. At that point, it's probably because I have too high of light, and I'll just put them, or it's too wet usually. I'll try to just move it around a little bit, see if it goes away or if I can slow it down. There are chemical treatments you can deal with slime molds and algae, but the chances are they're going to work is low, and also it's probably going to affect the spores in there too, because those are also little tiny life things that,
Yeah.
aren't very established yet. So,
What's in that clear thing right there?
yeah. So that's a dehydrator, which I've turned into a terrarium. So instead of keeping moisture out, it keeps moisture in. But just some cute little ant plant seedlings.
Because you're in Florida and need more humidity.
Yeah, right? For these guys, I guess so. They grow a little faster. I have better success with them. Yeah, and here's a bunch of even smaller ant plant seedlings. They kind of got hit with a fungus, so they're looking kind of crappy right now. And then these are staghorn divisions.
Ooh.
I just popped off the pups and then put them in sphagnum and waiting until they get bigger. This is a cool cultivar from Brazil called Celso, but I got it from someone in Taiwan.
And what is?
Yeah, so this is Anthurium, the Diabloense.
Oh,
one I
that's
have
the same
over there.
one
The
over
same
there?
one, yeah. Cool, like big long
Beautiful.
lobes.
Yeah.
These are some divisions. I'll probably have those for sale in the future. You can see this one's female
Yeah.
receptive, so I got some pollen right here. So maybe I'll pollinate that. Basically, I'm just taking the pollen off this flower because you can see it's got little yellow dots there.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it on my finger. And this one's female receptive right now because it has little water droplets. That's dew. And whoever buys that plant will probably have some seeds.
Perfect.
Yeah, right? Bonus.
So nice of you.
I know I keep
wow.
talking about ant plants, but
I'm cool with that.
this is an ant plant which I mounted on a piece of coconut right here.
Wow.
But when I mounted it on the coconut when it was just a little seedling, I'm like, how am I going to get this to stay here? So I thought I need something with like thick roots to hold it here and to grow through the coconut. So what I did is I mounted an Anthurium gracile
Oh, wow.
to
Yeah.
the plant. And what you have is a floating symbiotic garden to where the roots of the Anthurium have fully wrapped around the coconut. They've actually grown into the ant plant itself.
Wow.
And it basically holds this whole thing together with no soil. I just keep it watered. And Anthurium gracile is an awesome plant. I wish I had an example of why it's an awesome plant because it makes these long stems and then bright red berries. They call it red pearls. Bright red berries, and those will actually like hang down below the plant.
I'll be rolling some. I got some
Okay,
at
we'll
home.
bring up some photos. And it kind of makes like a really interesting floating arrangement.
That is
Essentially,
so
living
cool.
arrangement. Yeah, and this thing gets bigger than it is right now too. So I have no idea what this will look like in a couple of years. But yeah,
That's going to be interesting to come back in a few years and
it
how-
will. Or even if you come back here in September, it might look pretty odd with the summer.
be completely different.
Yeah. Oh, here's Platycerium celso, staghorn fern, but nice, furry, fuzzy leaves, very blue. And you can
Does
see
it feel fuzzy?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it does.
and see those are the pups,
Babies.
babies, and that's what was in the bin over there. But yeah,
It's beautiful.
really elegant looking thing. Hey, well, thanks so much for watching, coming on this tour with me. But you've seen the plants, you've seen the house, you've seen the greenhouse, and now it's time for you to get up on out of here. Take care.
Unfortunately, that's it for Palmer's garden tour. Next week, Palmer is taking us on a tour of Mount's Botanical Garden, where he is the head horticulturist. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you don't miss it. If you saw any plants you wanted, check out Palmer's storefronts or send him a message directly on Instagram. I've linked all his info in the description, so don't forget to follow him on everything. If you need more green, check out the tours playlist or check out this video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy next. I'll see you next week. Bye!